With me now, Trump's senior policy advisor, Stephen Miller. Stephen, glad to have you back. Donald Trump clearly ahead in the delegate count. One of our guests, though, Republican strategist Ford O'Connell, told me yesterday, even at this pace, Donald Trump will not reach that magic 1,237 number to ensure the party's nomination. Are you prepared for a contested convention?
Deirdre, it is great to be back with you, too. And we are prepared to win the nomination and looking forward to moving the ball forward with a fabulous victory in Florida next Tuesday. And you were bringing up the press conference last night and some of the audio I heard earlier. And I think it's important for your audience to contrast the joyfulness and inclusiveness of Donald Trump's press conference with the bitterness and meanness and smallness that has been Senator Marco Rubio's campaign. It really is a remarkable contrast. Now, we know that Senator Rubio, of course, has a corrupt financial history that Mr. Trump has brought to light, but he's done a great public service in doing so, whether it's Mr. Rubio's shady financial dealings and selling his house to a lobbyist, or his lie to the people of Florida. When Mr. Rubio campaigned and said he'd stop amnesty, and they became the biggest champion of amnesty in all of Washington, D.C.
Well, and that is
so
clearly
Florida is going to go a long way
with conservatives.
Yep.
We know that indeed.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
I want to come back to the joyful tone in a minute, but with more on this idea of a contested convention, here is Senator Cruz on the possibility.
If we get to July and you haven't yet amassed 1,237, and neither has he, let's say it's a two-man race at that point, you're okay with the quote, contested convention where then it goes to a balloting system and it's still decided by the people.
A contested convention is a different thing where you go, if no one gets 1237 and you've got two front runners. Look, Reagan and Ford battled it out at a contested convention. That's what conventions are for. If you're fighting between the candidates who have earned the votes of the people, and it's the delegates at the convention who've been elected to do that, that's the way the system works.
A quick reminder to our viewers, catch more of Megyn Kelly's town hall with Senators Cruz and Rubio. That is tonight at 9 and 11 p.m. Eastern on Fox News. Stephen, I want to get back to this idea of tone because Trump has said he wants to be a unifier. You said he was joyful. That was true. But he has offended some people, including former presidential candidate Carly Fiorina. Here she is on why she endorsed Senator Cruz.
Now, you know, there are other people in our party who actually are kind of horrified by Donald Trump. I'm one of them. It is time now to unite behind the one man who can beat Donald Trump, who can beat Hillary Clinton, who can beat the D.C. cartel. It is time to unite behind Ted Cruz.
So Trump famously implied during one debate that Carly Fiorina didn't look very nice. I mean, it was childish in tone. So there are a lot of people who are concerned with how he's going to unify the party when, well, he has ruffled a lot of feathers.
Well, I will definitely tell you that that sound clip did not sound joyful at all. So, no, Mr. Trump's campaign has been joyful. And especially if you talk about tone, Mr. Trump has taken on the bullies. I'm going to get very serious for a second here. I was talking with a mother, a grandmother, who lost her job. She worked at Orlando Disney, and she was forced to train the foreign worker who replaced her. It was a tragedy. And she told me that she believed in Mr. Trump because she wanted somebody to stand up to the bullies. That's what she said. Mr. Trump takes on the rich and the powerful and the well-connected. The people attacking Mr. Trump are attacking the voters. They're demeaning the blue-collar workers who haven't had a pay raise in 20 years. So that's really what this campaign is about. Mr. Trump has stood up for working people with joy and with a heart filled with warmth against powerful special interests who want to crush their hopes and dreams, the very people financing Senator Rubio's Open Borders campaign.
Well, to your point, Stephen, that is presumably at least part of his allure to so many people is that they feel like he has a very strong character at the very least. But statistically and strategically, because this is your job where you come in, there's a new poll that tries to measure a hypothetical general election between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And Clinton is shown by beating him. We have the numbers on our screen, but 51-38. And Senator Sanders in this same poll would actually fare even better against Donald Trump, 55 to Trump's 37. What is your take on polls such as this?
Well, as you know, there's been plenty of polls showing Mr. Trump winning and winning very easily in a general election. But as Mr. Trump has said, he hasn't even started yet on Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is the most vulnerable, presumptive, or potential, I should say, Democrat nominee in generations. She has extreme likability issues. She has very high negatives. She has enormous personal scandals. She's insincere. So I don't think that anybody is concerned about that. And I will even go further and say Mr. Trump is going to accomplish the realignment of the electoral map. We're going to win in Michigan. We're going to win in Pennsylvania. We're going to win in Ohio. We're going to win in Florida. And the way we're going to do that, the way Mr. Trump is going to do that, is by appealing to the disenfranchised blue-collar workers that haven't had a pay raise, that haven't had a good-paying job, that are worried about their economic futures, whether it's offshoring of jobs, whether it's open borders.
Yeah, Stephen, let me stop you because I agree that he says I mean, it's obvious, right? He is saying things that really connect and resonate with so many people, and he is reflecting a lot of people's frustration. But when you talk about blue-collar workers or manufacturing, some of his plans, how is he going to do in 4 years? For example, when he criticizes the TPP or when he criticizes some of the trade arrangements that are already in place. I mean, it's one thing to reflect emotion and frustration, but it's quite another to get things done in Washington.
I'm really glad you asked that question. Thank you. The Trans-Pacific Partnership, Obama signed it, but it hasn't been enacted by Congress yet, so it's not in place. The TPP is a 12-nation pact. One of the countries in that pact is Vietnam. So it's going to offshore all of our jobs in textiles and other industries to Vietnam. So just stopping the TPP alone will save tens of thousands of jobs. It will also end the car industry, which is huge in a state like Ohio, by sending those jobs to Japan. Secondly, we're going to crack down on currency manipulation. Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio have voted in favor of currency manipulation, which is remarkable. They're in favor of, just to explain this briefly, of China devaluing their currency to send our jobs to China. We've lost 3 million jobs to China since 2001. So just those two things alone, you're going to be talking about saving millions of American jobs. And Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and John Kasich all support the TPP, which will end the U.S. auto industry as we know it, and will send many clothing and manufacturing jobs to Vietnam, and would be a total disaster.
Stephen, any picks from Trump, potential cabinet members, since we're talking about larger economic issues? Carl Icahn's a fan. A lot of other people are fans, although Carl Icahn has said he won't be Treasury Secretary.
Well, we're not announcing anything today, but I will note that this is public, that he has tapped Senator Jeff Sessions of Alabama to chair his National Security Advisory Committee, which I think is a huge and wonderful development, and people can take enormous confidence in that. And I will just say this last thing, if I have time, is that Mr. Trump's foreign policy is another area where we're going to make huge inroads with disaffected voters and really grow the Republican Party. Whereas Mr. Trump's talking about avoiding foreign conflicts, Rubio and Cruz, again, they're pushing that globalist agenda of endless wars and endless fighting in the Middle East that the public just doesn't want.
All right. Stephen, come back. We enjoy the conversation.
Thanks so much.
Stephen Miller with me there, Trump's senior policy advisor.